It wasn't that long ago that Kronovi was looking for 2 new players to fill up the G2 lineup. Since joining G2, Jknaps has proven himself as one of the best North American Rocket League players, arguably the best. In this video, I'm counting down my picks for the 10 nuttiest Jknaps moments. I don't want to waste any time, so let's just get right into the list. Number 10, Jknaps the pre-jumper. Rocket League is ultimately about trust. I'm guessing that Jknaps actually learned this from his mentor, Kronovi.
Okay, I still trust. It's 2-2, I know, but I trust my team.
Pre-jumping at midfield in doubles while your teammate is going up on the wall, that's just trust. There's no room for error. This shot makes me wonder if Jknaps was ever a freestyler. The flat car, the unnecessary pre-jump, it honestly wouldn't surprise me. Number 9, Jknaps beating Dapper. At Gold Rush 2.0, they did a 1v1 tournament with a Swiss phase and then a regular bracket. And in the Swiss phase, Jknaps went up against the best 1v1 player in the house, Dapper. It was a best of 3 with Jknaps losing the first game and then winning the second game. In game 3, he was down 2 goals with roughly a minute to go, and he ended up tying it up. Then this is how the game came to an end.
Oh, never mind.
My bounce.
Yeah.
That's actually unfortunate.
Dapper just faking it, playing safe, trying to keep as much boost as
Oh,
he can.
that's
in.
that is a
Got
great
it.
equalizer. Oh,
Wow.
this is getting pretty close.
This one's spicy.
I think he used the wall to cinch it here, actually.
Yeah, this is a great
Oh,
shot.
He just rebounded
Yeah,
it.
Dapper
That
not
was a good
respecting the shot and going for boost. It's scary with 10 seconds left.
Jknaps needs to be careful this kickoff.
Yeah.
Because whoever wins this kickoff and scores is a good win.
Like
game.
Jknaps.
It's good for Jknaps. Can you bump him?
Gets the bump.
Oh, 1v actually.
Gets the
that's
shot.
Oh
all right.
my goodness.
Yeah,
He's done it.
He finally wins a kickoff
Wow.
at the most crucial time.
Yeah, that's like maybe one of the 3 kickoffs he's won all
Yeah.
series.
Great job also to try and go for the bump instead of trying to race under it and pop it.
Yeah.
Recognizing if he gets the bump, he has time to take
Still
a shot.
4 seconds.
Let's
Dapper
see.
gets the win
This
kickoff
Dapper-
here.
Kickoff, definitely
Dapper's not out
here.
of it yet.
Oh,
Oh,
he doesn't
Another
get it.
kickoff win.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, that's probably
I mean,
game.
Let's see if
Jknaps just
Jknaps
faked
did
it.
make it.
game.
Oh.
This was a pretty big shocker since Dapper was clearly the best ones player. Although it didn't matter in the end, they ended up playing in the finals of the bracket stage, and Dapper ultimately got his revenge. Number 8, 2v3 vs NRG. In Season 3 of RLCS League play, G2 went up against their longtime rival, NRG. After just a few minutes of the first game, G2 was up 1-0, but then Kronovi disconnected. The key to winning a 2v3 is not to play passively. You need to have one player play more defensive and another player to sort of hold up the pressure on offense. Jknaps and Rizzo are basically the perfect players to do so. G2 was down a goal with under a minute left in the game. The kickoff went NRG's way, but Rizzo was able to challenge early and get a pass off to Jknaps, who was able to force overtime. Goals like these really solidified Jknaps as a clutch player. Ultimately, NRG scored quickly in overtime. Kronovi would end up joining for the next 2 matches, but G2 still lost both of them for the sweep by NRG. Regardless, I think this game showed just how good Jknaps is. It kinda reminded me of the time that Pashy took on 3 players by himself. Number 7, Jknaps vs Fnatic. G2 made it through the first round of group stage in the Dreamhack Leipzig Open, but then they had to go through a pretty rough second round, which meant facing off against Gale Force, Fnatic, and also Team Secret. This shot happened in the second game of the best of 5.
We back over to Siki, but now Jknaps and the rest of G2 can control some of the mid boosts. Make that life a little bit more difficult for Fnatic. That could go in, and that will go in! Jknaps, you are nuts!
Jknaps to himself, off the ceiling, lands. Now, okay, off the ceiling, that was a great play. Put it down into the box, but to be able to recover off the back wall and send that one into the net, such a good recovery from him, and he puts G2 back in the game.
Number 6, Jknaps Twitch clips. You've probably seen a lot more of Justin and Squishy streaming, and I guess that's partially because they actually stream regularly. Regardless, you should at least go watch these clips. Some of them are pretty crazy. Number 5, the Jknaps Show. With Torment as a sub, NRG looked more dominant than ever in this tournament. G2 faced off against NRG in the semifinals of the Dreamhack Leipzig Open. It was a best of 7 series, and they were tied going into Game 7 after Jknaps made an amazing overtime goal in Game 6 to keep G2 alive. This was another big win for G2. I think it really showed once again that they can contend against any team. G2 ultimately lost in Game 7 of the finals in an amazing series against PSG. Number 4, the Goal Line Stand. The first LAN event of 2018 consisted of the top 8 teams from the RLCS Championship. Obviously, Gale Force would be favored after coming off their championship win. I don't think anybody expected them to lose, especially not to G2, who played them in the round robin and lost 3-0. G2 did qualify for the bracket stage, but they had to play Mocket and then probably Gale Force if they were able to win. And we all know the story. G2 ended up winning the whole thing. Honestly, I think this may be the biggest upset in Rocket League history. Gale Force was clearly the favorite. They'd already 3-0'd G2 in the round robin, and they just looked completely dominant in this tournament. This is how the final game came to an end. And I want to personally thank Jknaps for once again making us all remember why we all should be G2 fanboys. Number 3, G2 vs F2. This is the RLCS match that everybody had been waiting for. Pro Team G2 facing off against one of the greatest farm teams Rocket League has ever seen, F2, consisting of John Sandman, Woofles, and the YouTuber formerly known as Nemike. This 0-second goal, which basically consisted of F2 screaming while G2 worked really hard to keep the ball up, was sent from one end to the field to the other and then back.
Here you go, Rizzo. Yeah. We got a title for you. The longest
I got it.
in the air.
No. Keep it up.
Come on, Rizzo! No, Rizzo! Jknaps, you got it! Yes!
After coming off their win at E-League, G2 went headfirst into the next big LAN, Dreamhack Leipzig, which I've already mentioned before in this video. This was actually a funny tournament for G2 since they placed second in their first group stage, second in the next, and then eventually second in the finals. Here's how the first game of the series went against Jknaps.
One team in the form of Jknaps that we've never seen perform when it truly matters against G2, who only perform when it really matters. And Jknaps doing what he does, and that is perform all the time.
What a shot here from Jknaps. Rizzo pushing that ball into the middle, and one just bouncing up off the left and being able to air roll his car onto the other side of the ball.
This momentum would carry G2 on to... oh wait, never mind, they actually lost this series. It's okay though, G2 got their revenge against Jknaps in round 1 of the bracket stage, beating them in game 5. Before I give my pick for the nuttiest Jknaps moment of all time, here are a few honorable mentions. Alright, my pick for the nuttiest Jknaps moment goes to this goal, the wave dash pass. In the RLCS Summer Series, way back when Cloud9 were actually still the Muffin Men, a rather nutty goal occurred. Facing off against the Muffin Men in the semifinals, Jknaps and Rizzo scored one of the craziest goals I think I've ever seen.
Here, dribble opportunity, he's gonna go for the pass. No, he goes for the fake. Pass to Rizzo, and Rizzo dunks it in for the win.
Jknaps, an absolute monster. This first jump completely pulling Squishy out, thinking he was gonna flick it. Squishy makes the first touch, and then Jknaps lands, perfectly recovers, flicks it over across the defender. That was insane.
And Rizzo with the...
Okay, so you saw it, I think you might have missed it though. Let's watch that again in slow motion. After securing a dribble with a little bit of room to work with, Jknaps faked a 50-50, and then he wave dashed really quickly to get the ball around his opponent, and also pass it to Rizzo. Oh yeah, and this was an overtime goal, so no big deal. G2 would go on to win the series 4-1. Alright guys, there you have it, my picks for the nuttiest Jknaps moments of all time. I hope you guys like this one. Make sure to subscribe if you like these kinds of videos. I've done a ton of these videos, and I keep putting them out pretty regularly, so make sure to check those out. Thanks again for watching, see you next time.